let's not be frustrated. We should learn in the process. Okay. So this is another question, and this question I will pose it to Professor Omorige. Okay, can you please give us tips for winning grants? Okay, we want to know tips on writing a proposal that can win grant. Not all proposals can win grants, but we just need few tips on some of these of what to do, and of course what to do on our proposal and other things to do so that we can win competitive competitive grants. Thank you.
It's kind of easy and difficult at the same time. Easy in the sense that for some people you get it easily, it seems, but it involves a lot of work. The major thing is you must have a good proposal. And having a good proposal means you have to do a lot of work, putting together all the elements of having a good proposal. You cannot be an expert in writing. Writing is a gift, but even then you have to work at it in making the right proposal for a particular grant. Check the criteria for the grants so you can follow it up at each stage. And then when you put up a proposal for a grant, even though you get rejection, don't give up. You can write more than 20 proposals to different grants. Don't give up until you get a positive response. And then you must make sure you meet up the criteria for submission. Because sometimes we don't do that, so you don't get the grant. And it can be depressing sometimes, but you have to buckle up and write again. So the issue is that you must have that patience, the spirit of, continuity until you get what you want. It's very important. And you also have to get somebody who is also good at it to also help you out in terms of mentorship. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. A round of applause for her one more time. All right, so we have had tips on how to write competitive proposals. Now, when we are applying for a grant, we must know that we are not the only person applying for that grant. So that means that should spur certain things in us to put in more effort. And she has been able to tell us some of these tips that we need to do so that we can be better than others, that our proposal will scale higher than others. Thank you. Now, let's look at this last question because of our time. So, I've been pursuing this particular award, this particular fellowship and scholarship for years. I've attempted it more than 3 times, and I've not been able to win it. What can I do differently? What can I do differently? I'd like to invite Professor Victor Oyele to address that question.
Thank you. I think the first and foremost is to congratulate you for making the attempt, because some people will not even make any attempt. That you even made the attempt and you are not winning is not bad at all. But the problem is, have you been improving yourself when you submit subsequently? Or are you just submitting the same application year in, year out? I was telling somebody who recently asked me, because I belong to reviewing body for grants for my international associations. I even had one granting body for my own international association for the study of pain. I recently become the head of the fellowship and grant association group. So that means that I've been involved in reviewing several applications, not Nigerians alone, globally. So I think sometimes we underestimate the field. When I walk in, a professor asked me, somebody asked me, said, I submitted this application, and I said I didn't win it. And I said, did you know how many you are competing with? I belong to the people who are reviewing. Well, you have submitted and we had only one award, and about 15 people apply. but you did not have that at the back of your mind. You thought you were just sending something. But if you have it at the back of your mind that you are really competing, then you have to put in your best. And so I think somehow you need to contact people who have won the grant before. Let them be your mentor. If you can be sure that there will be confidentiality, honesty, you can share your application with them, and then you can ask them to put you through. And if you see people who have been involved in writing grants and reviewing grants, ask them. And if you know somebody who is part of the committee to review, you might start to chat up with them, write them an email and what have you, and ask them for assistance, how to write, and sometimes you give them and then let them review. There are certain things that you may not know. Like somebody was to win a grant, and I was part of the committee, and I wanted that person to win the grant. And I called her. I said, I know I was actually the one that was, it was for our society. So I pushed her to do the application. So I had to tell her, I said, put this line, put this line, put this sentence, put this sentence, put this, because this is what we have the template to score. These are the things we are looking for. And when we don't find it in this your application, you won't win it. So as much as possible, don't just write and keep it, share, and let somebody with honesty, let somebody have an input and reach out, not Nigerian alone, reach out to people who might be able to look at your application. And then again, look at people who have won the grant before and try to interact with them and try to see what they have done differently. So from there, you may be able to learn one or two things. Thank you.
A round of applause for Professor Oyele. Please, a round of applause for him. Some of these things, we don't just come by them, okay? So for us to have him tell us all of this, you know, it's something that is good for us and good for our careers. Okay, so do we have any other question before we close the session? Do we have any other question? Any other question? Okay. In lieu of no questions, I'd like to close this section. I would like to thank all our professors for obliging us their time and for this period of discussion and mentorship. Thank you so much. All right, so I would like to hand over to Dr. Ademosun for the next session.
Please, can you help me appreciate Dr. Adefega? That was an enriching session. And much more, please, can we appreciate all the mentors, our professors? Thank you so much for sharing with us from your wealth of experience. So let me say once again, good morning to everybody. How was the night? Hope you're enjoying the sunshine state, even though we've not had so much sunshine since yesterday. But you're enjoying the weather. Okay. The pounded yam issue, it will be resolved today. You know, I was careful in my choice of words. I didn't say we will eat pounded yam. I said the pounded yam issue will be resolved today. It's not political statement, it's called diplomacy. But I believe the night was fine, and I believe we are set to have a very good time today. Let's pass a few notices. We're going to take two very important talks now. And after that, we'll have the tea break. And then we will go to the technical sessions. When it's time for the technical sessions, we will know where we are presenting and where to submit our slides. Okay, so because people have been coming to the registration there, so I should quickly say that. For those who need receipts, okay, receipts are being written. If there is a need for clarification on one or two things, you will be informed. Tags are being produced and they are being sorted out. Okay, so once they are ready, we'll be able to collect them. So I'm saying all this so that we don't need to go to the registration desk anymore and just be able to sit in here and enjoy this session. This session that we are going into now, okay, we're going to be having the plenary talk, and then we are going to be having a memorial lecture. But we'll begin with the plenary talk first. But to chair this session that will cover the two talks, please welcome with me to the high table Professor M.K. Oladumoye. You're very much welcome, sir. And he's going to chair this session. Please come, sir. You're very much welcome, sir. It's called the high table. Where you sat before, there was no table there. And of course, he is going to be assisted on the high table by Dr. Jeje. You're very much welcome, sir. So without wasting time, I hand over to the chairman of this session.
Dr. Obo and okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I want to stand on the existing protocols. As mentioned by the secretary of this particular conference, this is a plenary session and a memorial lecture section. The plenary section will be handled by our own Professor G. Obo. Professor Obo, you have the floor. Thank you.
Very sorry, because I've been informed by the NIFES NEC that I'm about to commit an offense. Okay? That we're supposed to take the citation for Professor Obo. Exactly. It would actually take 1 hour. So I'm going to do the job of 1 hour in 30 seconds. Okay? So let me do it this way. He's been recognized by AD Scientific. He's been recognized by Stanford University as the best researcher in Nigeria. With an H index over 50. And his citation on Google Scholar is in tens of thousands. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Science. He's also a fellow of the African Academy of Science. He has won too many grants. I didn't say so many. I said too many for me to begin to list. Have I used 30 seconds? I should continue. I think that's enough for now. The only thing that we had is that he has supervised over 100 master students. And in terms of PhD, he has supervised about 40. And I am proud to be one of the 40. Oga, you are welcome, sir.
Good morning. I don't know how to create a protocol, but I can stand on existing one. So I'll be speaking more on translational research today. Yes, okay. Yeah. I'll be speaking on translational research, and I chose to speak on translational research because I know many times we have been doing research in this part of the world, but most of our research are not translatable. We have many publications. Nigeria, we publish a lot. I will just start by a simple story. It happens in 2007, there in Germany. We were in a meeting from Brazil, and they came with data. What really amazed us then that Brazil has one of the highest turnover in PhD, what with little industrial impact. But that was what they observed. So they now said they want to work on that. Yes, they are turning out PhD, tons of publications in Scopus, in Thomson Reuters, but little industrial impact. And I can assure you, Nigeria case is not in any where we have a number of PhD, a number of publications with close to no industrial impact. So today, speaking on, go back to the first slide, translating functional food research to sustainable healthcare delivery. So that was speaking on. The next slide, please. Yeah, a lot has happened in the world of science. You talk of medicine, agriculture, renewable energy, technology. A lot has happened. Though my interest will be in the first two areas, which is agriculture. And I'm sure if you go to Google Scholar, ton out of publications in this area. I'm talking of from Nigerian authors. You'll be amazed. A lot of publications with zero impact. That's the situation of research in Nigeria. People having 400 papers, 500 publications, no product to show. So that's why I'm emphasizing it from my own area of research, which is functional food. Now, deliberately I chose to start with this slide because to tell you what is happening in Nigeria. Yes, I told you earlier, a lot of research are going on. Get to laboratories, a lot of research are going on with little or no matter of most of the research we doesn't get to commercial state. Anti. A lot of anti they are there. And we have almost exhausted all the plants. Even now we have left the one in the street, we have now entered forest. And yet, we are not translating them. So, in Nigeria, our research is just for publication and career development. What do I need to become professor? And you work towards that and you get it. And then you cannot go to bed. And that's we are, when we talk of product development, processes, and all those things. I said earlier that publication, we have a lot to show. Sometimes I've had cause to represent my university in presentation of certificate for patent. You'll be shocked that only few Nigerian universities will patent. The few we have, zero. Recently, a lady needed a reference from me. She has to come from that university. And one of the requirements for you must have at least 2 patents. And in the university where she works, nobody has it. So somebody now referred her to me that Professor Bo has patent. And I said, okay. I said, what happened in your university, not your university alone? There are many universities. You have a lot of publication, a lot of things that you'll be shocked that many universities in Nigeria, they have 0 patent. And yet you have several professors. So there's no, then when it comes to this area of translating our research to impact, when it comes to research in Nigeria, we are not doing well. We are not doing well. As a matter of fact, one of the requirements to have PhD with me now is that you must have a patent. So it's not just doing classical research, pumping out data. You must be able to develop a product of commercial value, and that is patentable. So it's not a requirement for you to earn a PhD from me. Next slide. Now, yes, in the requirement is that you must have 2 SCV articles. I've moved beyond that. Then to a severe, you are good to graduate. But I've moved beyond. You must have a pit. So right from day one, you know what is required of you. So I should be working towards it. Now, functional food. It's a popular slogan everywhere, functional, functional, functional. And, Hippocrates said something, said, let food be your medicine and medicine be thy food. Abi? It's a popular one, but we have modified it. Not all food can be your medicine. Some food are suicide bombers. So the modification is that let functional food be thy medicine. So not all food that can be your medicine. So the food that can be your medicine must be functional. Next slide. Next slide, please. Now, what is functional food? What is functional food? And deliberately, I chose to define it because people mix up functional food with functional properties. They are two different things. What qualifies a food to be functional? Let's look at the definition. I say any food or food that may provide health benefit beyond the traditional nutrient it contains. That food is functional. So food with health benefit. They can manage hypertension, manage diabetes, they can manage cancer, they can manage aging. Those foods are classified as functional. So for a food to be qualified to be functional, there are three main conditions. Mind you, we are not talking of capsule, we are not talking of tablet. It must be a regular food. That's the first requirement. So that food must be derived from natural ingredients. It's not synthetic. That's the first requirement for it to be a functional food. And that is that it should be consumed as part of our daily diet. So it's not a strange food. Then, the food should be able to regulate a particular body process. Number one, improves biological defense mechanism. So we want to look for food that can boost your immunity. Such food are functional food. Sometimes when you look at doing some work, looking at some food that can boost your immune system, like in the case of COVID then. No, that's what I was advocating, that the best way to control COVID is to boost your immune system. They were talking of social distancing there, all those things. And we were trying to copy Oyinbo man. Naturally, Oyinbo man, there's a social distance. You may not know your next door neighbor. But I read this somewhere that in Face Me and Face You house, about 12 rooms, one toilet, one bedroom. I don't know how you're going to do social distance. So that food should be to defend you. And that is that it should be to prevent and help in recovery from disease. Very, very important for a food to be functional. And that is that your mental, though we have done a lot of work on that area of mental, your physical, whatever, talk of a lot of disease, Parkinson, Alzheimer's, all those stuff. And it should be to retard aging process. Any food that has those qualities can be referred to functional food. So what we do in research is to search for those food that can do those things. Next slide, please. Now, classification of functional food. So that's why I say functional food research is multidisciplinary. It's not just biochemists, it's not just food scientists alone. You have microbiologists, all of them. Because when you talk of functional, a lot of things go on there. Please, next one. Because I have to go back. There are some things. Now look here. You see, when you talk of functional food, you talk of the probiotics. Our friends in microbiology comes up readily there. Your yogurt, there are some beneficial microorganisms that will be useful to you. So, probiotic aspect is there. There's the conventional food. Today, people eat more bitter cola, but in those days, nobody want to eat bitter cola. When my friend was doing his inaugural, I don't know if he was chatting incantation or not, Professor Farumbi, when he was talking on bitter cola. So, there are some conventional food, and we have a number of them, like your black seed. They are just there. Then there's this other aspect which I will dwell most of my time on: designer's food. In that case, consciously you design a food to address a particular ailment. And that's what I spend most of my energy on now. Based on existing data, now design a particular food to address a particular ailment. So that's what I talk of design. Now, so you can design food for cancer, you can design food for diabetes, not just based on existing data, mix them in the appropriate proportion, and develop a food, which is the area we call the designer's food. Next slide. Now, translational research. We need to know what is translational research. And I will read it the way it is. And I have to say, when you talk of translating knowledge gained from laboratory science to clinical practice to improve health. So what we are talking about in translational research is that's your antioxidant property, that's your antimicrobial property, that's your anti-malaria properties of those plants. Go beyond anti, move it into a product that will benefit a patient in the hospital. When you are now doing that, you are doing translational research. We call it bench to bed research. Bench in the laboratory to bedside in the hospital. Are you okay? So, and I tell people it's easy to do anti, but to develop it to a product. You know, when you develop this thing, number one, you should to retain that quality. Have you? And you to do that job. So at that level, so in doing translational research, you have to learn additional things. You go beyond your classical analysis in the laboratory. At this level, you now come up to developing it, getting an appropriate delivery vehicle. So at that level, when this thing now, your auntie you got in the lab, the woman in the hospital cannot take it. At that level, you are doing translational research. So it's not just classical research. Next slide. Now, with this diagram, I will show, for most of us in the science world here, we are at the bench, turning out publications. But in translational research, we want to move from bench to bedside. Then from bedside to the community. That is the goal. So don't just remain on bench. And let me tell you, one thing I see in this type of research, I don't know who created that fear in us. We are bottled up. We are so scared that, hey, can this still work? No wonder now, China will do your direct for you. You know, those people can take risk. Science is all about risk taking. Are you okay? So, now, you have to break up yourself. You know, many of us, I tell you that people have a lot of strong idea residing there, but they cannot push it out. They say, if I push it out, if I say this thing can do this thing, suppose the doctor says it cannot do it, what will happen? Though I'm used to facing medical doctors, so I'm used to that. And now we are now good friends. And as a matter of fact, to do good translational research, you have to work together. Because most of the time, when I develop my product, I take it to the hospital, they will now test it on their patients. So, many products, in fact, I have another appointment for the end of this month again, for one of our products we just developed. So, you and doctors, we have to work together. And to shock you now, doctors are now the one even asking, bring this, develop this for us. So, you have to work together. The next slide, please. What are the aims of translational research? One of them is to develop therapeutics to address one pathology or the other. And let me tell you, and this I picked from my host in Brazil. He told me something I like. He said, any sickness you don't have drug for, there's a provision for it in nature. That search nature very well. There's something that will address that thing in nature. So, and that is the truth of the matter. The problem is that we are not searching out very well. If you search out very well, there's a solution to that problem. You know, for God to create you in a place, God has created everything that will support your existence. The only thing you do in research is to discover. So what we are doing in research is discovering those things God put there for your own existence. Now, medical devices, tools for diagnosing disease, and avenue. Those are four main objectives of translational research. Next slide, please. Now, what are we really promoting? How to accelerate? Because you see, you know my worry. Let me just tell you something. My worry. Most of your research, if you are not very careful, somebody in China used to produce something and you will buy it. Because you don't know how to invest knowledge. That's the truth. In fact, my host immediately called my attention to that, oh, but you have too many primary data outside. What are you doing with your primary data? You know, yours is just promotion. Have you? You write it again, you throw it out. You write it again, and someone that is smart will use your discovery to make money. We had another experience. We went for exhibition in Lagos. Those people from oil coming, they were going around booths. You know, academics, we don't know business. Have you? We only know book. So, right at that venue, guys from NOTA, they were there. This patent office. They just rushed to our booth that, what's your problem? You are just revealing information to a company. Is there any crime if you even sleep in this hotel they are sleeping in? And truly, we couldn't sleep in that hotel. He said, why are you, that they are getting those information you are supposed to protect free of charge? And truly, you want to show, this data, you know, why they just give you 50,000 for attending? They know what they are going to make out of it. And that's one problem I see in Nigeria today. Many of our primary data, the Indians, the Chinese. And let me not tell you one funny one. This was my student. I don't know the student. I think they graduated from anatomy. Some Chinese French came. But that's how to start developing anti-malaria beverage. All they want this girl for, and they took her to Cotonou to see those plantations of Artemisia. So what the guy wanted to do is that they want to establish a factory in Nigeria that will be producing Artemisia-based beverage. You know you have malaria. Nigeria is one of the biggest markets for malaria. So this fellow will now come, use your people, use your knowledge, use your information to get money from you. I was telling somebody that, you know, when I went to Germany, most of the DAD fellows, they are from Nigeria, they are from Africa. Germans will not go. But I say, do you know one thing, that the information they have in Germany about Nigerian forests, you don't have it, you in Nigeria. All they need to do is to give your people fellowship. They come and do their project here and bring the result to them. So they understand your forest more than you. So, enhanced collaboration, this era of building silos and to optimize healthcare delivery. And I know it's already happening. I don't know. Though in Nigeria now, MDCN is now recognizing all those medicinal plants. But before now, MDCN, we had serious problem with MDCN. All they are now saying that they were able to regulate them. I know in a place like Ghana, it's not even officially open. Go to the hospital, you make your choice. Is it the Orthodox or you go for the Abba? I know in Germany it exists. You choose the one you want. That if you want to go for the Abba sauce or you go for the tablet or whichever one you want. So you make your choice. So next slide, please. Let's look at stages in translational research. The unfortunate thing is that we stay more in the first stage. Go online, there are a lot of data, which is just the basic research. Phytochemical screening, in vitro antioxidant, in vitro anti-malaria, in vitro. And with big conclusion. You did something in vitro. And then they say, I haven't done this, the thing will treat malaria. I'm a biochemist. The thing would have been metabolized, so you may not actually get there. You know, there was a time I was working with my host on sickle cell in Italy then. So we were trying to test caphtoric acid. I want to look at the rate of absorption. I now told my host that at the end of the day, you will not meet caphtoric acid in the blood. Say, I said, the thing would have been metabolized now. You can only have product of caphtoric acid. That you cannot have. He now come in. Say, do you still read? I say, I have to read now. I say, you cannot meet caphtoric acid at the end of the day. So, most of us stop at the level of basic research. And with basic research, we become professors. Then, some will make an attempt to get to preclinical research, do some rat experiment. Though many of us, they dare not snap the photograph of the animal house. Though my friend JJ is here, so I will not say what I want to say. Or should I say it? No, the truth is that most of us, where we claim we do the animal house, I tell people that put rat there without treatment, the rat will fall sick. So you don't need to even treat it. And yet you say, because that will tell you the way we see this type of research. I've seen animal houses abroad. You treat animals like human beings. Treat them like human beings. Well treated place, but this one, some, in fact, let me talk less. Otherwise, I will let the cat loose. So, a lot of preclinical thing, then using cell line, all those stuff, good, but obviously, I don't really know the lab. You know, recently I went around on third fund assignment. I don't know which lab now can do very serious, good, and reliable human cell culture in Nigeria. I don't know. I don't know personally. I don't know. That will tell you our attitude towards research. Cell line, the lab is not good. Animal house is not good. It's a serious issue. Then the next is the clinical research. Yes, we have talked much about clinical because though I have my own misgiving and I've challenged my friends in the medics. Because at the FUTA, they say, clinical trial. The first question I ask that, tell me one lab in Nigeria that can do comprehensive clinical trial. Tell me one lab. Then they will not come with the American model. I was in Horizon Euro research group. We were discussing in Abuja. The medics were there. I said, you people are talking. Why are you always bringing American model to represent us? Why can't you design a clinical trial that suits Nigerians? You know our laboratory. You know very soon they will take light. You know this one will happen. You know this one will happen. Why don't you now think, with this taking of light, taking of this, which type of clinical trial can we do? And later I now said they are not serious. Why? I said during COVID, within 2 days, you approved the vaccine from America. The one they developed in Nigeria, you say you are still testing them. And the following day, you said they should inoculate us. I say all these things are politics. So, the clinical trial, clinical implementation, and public health. You know, my worry is that with these stages, I wonder the fund you will get that will allow you to do that comprehensive thing. So we have to look inward and develop. Good enough, this NISEB conference, I think something like that. We have, because I've challenged the medics on several fora that develop Nigerian-supported clinical trial. And funny enough, they are using us to do clinical trial. You know that Pfizer did one. Have you? Next slide, please. Next slide. There are a lot of advantages. I don't want to spend more time on this. Next slide. Now, in our group, I told you, our emphasis is on translational research Because I tell people this idea of just cutting leaf, cutting plant, cutting back, cutting this, analyze, the world has gone past that. And go online, there are a lot of information. Not only information, contradictory information. Some will say it does, some will say it didn't do. In fact, a lot. In fact, I had a PhD student. Our work is just to address contradictions. That this fellow made this claim, this fellow made this claim, this fellow made this claim. First address these contradictions before start moving on. Even with the publications, there are a lot of contradictions outside. So in our group, we have done a number of things, so I will spend more time speaking on what we have done so far. Next slide, please. Now, here we have functional noodles for diabetic patients. So the idea there is to develop special noodles because most of them have problem with food. And go online, you will be shocked that most of the food we have in Nigeria, we have few data on their glycemic index. So for a diabetic patient to make choice of food, they have serious challenge. You can only see data on all those pasta, all those Oyinbo food. Nigerian food is a lot of job. You know, late Professor Sage did, if I'm data you will see is late Professor Sage and his group that did those jobs. Those are the only people that took time to do work on others. I know late Professor Sage and his group did a lot of job on trying to get data on Nigerian food. Others, no. And you are in Nigeria. So this work, our interest is to develop noodles for diabetic patients. Don't ask me what we used, but we did it. And already we have a patent for that. For the noodles. And it's anti-diabetic. In fact, establish the mechanism, and we have various. Those some people have come talking to us on it, on the commercialization. But what we said is, though the fellow said it's not meant for Akure production, that he rather gets a company for us in Lagos that we invest in it. So we have noodles. I've ate part of it because when they produce it, I ate in the lab, and we have tested it on diabetics, and it will work properly well. Next one. This ice cream. So, you know, Ademosun enjoys doing some things like that. He likes product development. So, and he likes ice cream. So I know he led those jobs. Where he has to produce special ice cream for diabetic patients. I know they are still producing more. So this time around, as a diabetic patient, ice cream is not forbidden. But there's a special ice cream you can take that will manage your blood glucose. Next slide. Next slide. These are breakfast series. We also have a patent for that, where we have tried to develop things like cornflakes, but this one is specially meant for diabetic patients. So you can take the cornflakes and your blood glucose will be okay. Next slide, please. Yes, this is one of our recent discovery. I told you, after the French guy, we have to go into malaria, developing special food to prevent malaria and to cure malaria. Now, how are the patients that work on that? Already we have patents, and lady has gotten several awards. In fact, she's just getting award upon award. I don't know. Because the PhD was focused on developing shortbread for malaria. So the idea is that just eat the bread, it will prevent malaria. If you have the malaria, eat the shortbread, and the malaria will go. So that was what the lady, that was our PhD work. Based on previous data, develop a product, now test it. So we have done that. Next one. This is special fertilizer we developed. We had a fund from TED Fund, and we already had a patent for that. And let me tell you, it is based on a concept. Viral infection correlates with selenium distribution. part of the world that had low selenium, they are prone to viral infection. And we have done the survey of Nigeria already. We have done the survey of Nigerian soil, water, and we have come to realize that there's a correlation between HIV spread and selenium in the soil. So what we now have to do now is that develop a fertilizer that you can use to grow your food. And that one, already we had the patent on the fertilizer. So, and you can use it to grow your vegetable, and in that work, what we actually use to grow is vegetables. So we had the patent for this already. Next slide. Now, this is the ultimate, because our plan then was to develop biscuit for HIV, what we call the green cookies. We produced the biscuit and we tested them on HIV patients. Already we have a patent for this already. So where we have to develop biscuit, test it on HIV patients. As a matter of fact, they are still troubling us that when will the thing be in the market? Because from the clinicians that handles the patient, apart from the fact that there was a drop in their viral load and all those stuff, they said they felt better. And another clinician has even approached me that if this thing can work for HIV, that they want to test this on hepatitis B patients. That let us see, we should help them to produce that for hepatitis B. Next slide. Yes, this is our polyabati. This I take every day. I take it every day to calm my nerves and to have a nice sleep. We have the formulation, we produce it. I took it yesterday again, I'm going to take it today again. When I'm even traveling abroad, I take it along. Because normally it was liquid before, but I know they will not allow me to take liquid through the airport. We now have to make it into a tea bag and well package. I know the first person that produced it, they were selling a pack, 4,000 naira. A pack of 20 bags. So if I want to sell it now, it should have gone to 10,000 naira. Because then dollar rate was. So we have this one, specialty, and it's working well. It lowers blood glucose, it lowers hypertension. In fact, we have done a number of work on it. And it's a polyabati. Next slide. This is our beer. Not just beer. Before somebody go and report me to my pastor. It's alcohol-free beer for diabetic patients. We have a grant to do that beer, and already we have a patent for the beer. Already, some people are talking with us on how to invest into the production. So we have to produce special beer for diabetic patients. And though if you get to I have some. Because the thing now, we had to do another beer. Some of my students took it. They had malaria and said the malaria left. So we had to now start producing beer for malaria. So we have, and we got very interesting results. And one of them, probably I would say, I was just discussing with my colleagues in UI. They were talking of this plant that is very good for diabetes. I don't know that, I think Professor Lale also worked on that plant for hypertension. I say, what we are going to do, let's use the plant to produce beer to address the comorbidity of hypertension and diabetes. Along the line, the people that drank said that their malaria left. I said, let us switch the work now to anti-malaria beer. And truly it worked. I take it, I have it in my fridge in the office, that for the first time, we gave out beer to mice and we have 100% clearance of plasmodium. We got 100% fat. Though we tested some other beer, but that one gave us 100% clearance of plasmodium. So we have that beer. The next one is this one. Yeah, that one, I was just teaching my students I told them that, yes, my wife normally have ulcer, that whenever she have ulcer, I will just make moringa for her. She will drink it and it will subside. Subside. I have a medical student, a medical doctor in the class. He says, sir, this is that can work for ulcer inside. It need to work for foot ulcer. And I said, that will be your MSc thesis. That was the MSc thesis. So we were able to develop a lotion. We have to get a pharmacist to assist us in the formulation to produce a lotion for diabetic foot ulcer. And you know, for now, foot ulcer, the only therapy available is amputation. It's amputation. And I gave that talk in a university where the doctors were bamboozling me. A guy came and said, come. That thing worked. That in Abuja, he had a sword that will not go. He had to disappear from the hospital. That what he used was moringa. He now came back that, and that's what do you use? Only, sir, the thing worked for diabetic foot ulcer. So we developed that lotion for diabetic foot ulcer. Then the other one, that one was based on my personal experience because my daughter had this thing, they call it alifo. Normally we cut this flower, but in what happened that the flower is like it's going to extinction. So what we now did is to make that lotion, that flower into a lotion. So instead of looking for the flower, just rub the thing on the body, and the thing works like magic. Though they didn't give me patent for that, but they collected the cream. Because the guy there said that my children also have this problem. So they said I should come with the thing. We produce the lotion. And instead of looking for the flower, just use the lotion on your screen, the skin of the baby, and the OT will just disappear. The next slide. This is another one. What we observe that many people love ogiri. They love iru, or they don't like the way they prepare it. So what we have done is to get them into a beautiful form. You can even travel with them abroad. In our lab, we have produced iru cube, ogiri cube, ogbono cube. So all you need to do with various formulations, if depending on the type of soup you want to cook. So we not tell you this is the appropriate one. Just get the cube and you can use. The next slide, please. This is our iru cube. Next slide. This is for women that battle with menstrual cramp. We have a special ginger tea for them. Next slide. This one is already in the market. Our ginger and turmeric bread. It's already in the market. Next one. Yeah, these are some other products. We have a wide range of products we have produced. Next slide, please. Now, I've shown you some products, but we have some problem facing translational research. All those things I showed earlier, there are a lot of heavy fund. We still discussed yesterday. You need refund. Because sometimes you will develop it, it will not work. You have to go back. So it's not a research of talking of 3 million, 4 million. You need real money. That's the truth. So the first challenge translational research is facing is inadequate funding. It's a serious one. It needs to be properly funded. So another challenge is, which is a serious problem we scientists are, is they give you grants, you embezzle it. That's a serious one. And other, so that one is a serious one. They will collect this fund, they will embezzle it, either at the level of the grantee or at the level of the institution. I said this somewhere. In many of our institutions, the CEOs, they have turned grant to means of IGR. And let me tell you, most international bodies, if they know you have that lifestyle, they will not give you fund. I know I was in a meeting in Germany, both YG Foundation made it clear. In fact, they mentioned Nigeria. They said something that which I used to tell them that somebody is giving you 100 million grants. Instead of you to add your own 10 million, you are looking for how to collect 10 or 20% as administrative charge from the money somebody gave to you. That no real serious body, because what they say that when they say bring this amount, all they are asking from is not your money, they want to see your commitment. But it's a serious problem, and that's what I put, that unfavorable institutional policies and practice. It's a serious one, and it's really killing research. No any serious body, even nice, even horrible. If some people want to give you money, they will say some, though that's what I like about German system, they will deal with you directly at the worst. They say go and collect the money at their embassy. Then they say they will pay it to one account in CBN. Have you? Probably it will take about 6, 7, 8 months. I know the first time I hosted ISN on campus here, I almost went crazy. The money came, I didn't get it until I had to go and get money to buy tickets. It was after the thing, it was after the conference, the money they paid more than 6, 7, 8 months. I didn't get it until after the conference. It's in CBN, is this. There's no way you can do translational research that way. There's no way. That's one of the challenges we have. Next slide, please. Human factors. Lack of interest, no motivation. And truly, there are no motivation. And for people to really deliver, they must be motivated. You know, it's said that we don't take stock. I know where I did my postdoc in Germany. One of the things they take stock of at the end of the year is the number of papers that came out. And that will determine your budget for the following year. If you are becoming less productive, they cut it. So your productivity will determine your budget. So just to tell you that you are doing well, you get more. Have you? So no motivation, either at micro level or at a larger level. No motivation, no motivation. And it's a serious one. It's a serious one. Inadequate mentoring. I know a lot have been going on mentoring, mentoring, getting people's grants. I've been involved in several mentor, mentee. But there's a problem. There's a problem. And let me tell you one of the problems, though you may not like it. This I've raised before the NUCES and ESTED. You know what I observe in Nigeria? No requirement for PhD. You only get your PhD the day you and your supervisor feel you can get it. I don't know, though I have a requirement, personal requirement anyway. But I know in most Nigerian universities, is the day you and your supervisor feel you can hand a degree, they fix the exam, you get it. Go online, you see several countries, they have their requirement. Even this argument, ESNUC accepted that. I made a point. That, take for instance, I know when I went to Brazil for my first postdoc, the requirement is very clear. Probably in per factor 1 then, and now it's in per factor 2. You must publish at least 1 article before you can talk of graduation. Though my host will tell you that you must publish at least 2. So right from day 1, you are on your toes. So instead of you spending your money trying to buy tire for your supervisor to graduate you, do the research. No, you know, that's, you know, I tell people now that in Nigeria, PhD is common meji. It's common meji. So there's a problem of mentoring, and that is a serious problem. There's a disconnect between the older generation and the incoming generation, mostly in research. And it will shock you. Look at, to appreciate this thing, go back online, go and look at publications of 1960, 1970. They are stronger than what we are publishing now. And ordinarily, we should be having stronger publications than what they had then. Some of the work they did in the 70s in Nigeria, you cannot do it now. There's a strong disconnect. Then, lack of local and international exposure and collaboration. I say it without being modest. One of the strongest departments in FUTA is biochemistry department. I say it with No. You know, I can say it anywhere that one of the strongest in terms of research output, publications, patent in every area of science research, biochemistry. And these facts can be verified. And I say it that one of our strengths in biochemistry is our exposure. We are well traveled. Yeah. In fact, that one, we have that one. Can't take it away from us. Go to Germany, bring the idea. Go to China, bring the idea. Go to Brazil, bring the idea. That makes us a stronger department. Exposure. It's not luxury. Though I will say this bigger from in Abuja. It's not luxury. When your people go for postdoc, predoctoral fellow, it's not luxury. It makes your system stronger. I knew years back when we came into the system as academics, all we were doing around here is proximate and mineral content. But proximate is no more analysis now. Because we have gone out, we have seen real research. You know, sometimes somebody was asking for me, how do you know about patent? I said, my host in Germany taught me. I just went through his CV, he had 3 years. And I went to him and said, sir, I was going through your CV online, you have 3 patents, I have 0. He said, what's your interest? I said, I want to have patent. He now sat me down and he tutored me the requirements, the rules on how to get patent. And when I came back from Germany, I had to change my research pattern. Even publications, before I traveled to Brazil, I had several publications, but they are not well indexed. I know then, I think I had either 4 or 5 on PubMed, about 4 on Scopus wasn't even popular then. Thomson Reuters, probably about 4. My host told him that of all the numerous you have, that is the paper you have. Is that 4? That is what is known to the world. All those 50 you are parading, there are no papers. So when I came back from Brazil, I had to change my pattern of publication. Anything that is not ISI index is not a paper. So the exposure. People need exposure. So it's not luxury. It's not luxury. Let them go. Though some will run away. You cannot close your clinic because somebody died. Have you? So some will go, some will come back, and they will make the system stronger. Like in China, I was a visiting professor in China. You cannot be a PI in China if you don't have a US link. You must have a US link. Because the idea is that you are transferring things. So that is the thing, the exposure. Lastly, how do recommendation for the future? There should be funding, sincerely. There should be funding. Even I've always expressed that even I have problem with the way they even fund the NRF. Though I have benefited several from them, but I have a problem with it, and I'm still challenging it. And I know that I have to tell them, let's study Brazilian model. Instead of giving somebody 50 million to go and buy a car, give people 10 million and get more people to do the work. Because I know in Brazil, close to 60% of the academics have the CMPQ grant or CAPS. So many people are engaged at a time. Instead of giving 1 or 2 people or 0 from an institution, the more people that get the grant, the better for the system. Though some will still steal it anyway, but you still get some. Then, dedicated research institute. Then, mentorship. Since there's a serious problem with mentorship, we have to improve on our mentorship. Then, international exposure. I've said it earlier. People should be encouraged to go out. I don't know how we are going to do it. Though I don't tell a serious problem with that. Now, the many people that they send that didn't come back. But people should be encouraged to go out. And that is what is called technology transfer. That's why you can do it. Then, policies and practice. Let me tell you, like when I came in as a young lecturer in FUTA, there's something the university was doing. And that was kept us on our toes. And I say it without being immodest. It's my generation that is sustaining FUTA. And I will tell you why. When we came in, the VC volunteered that if you are lecturer 1 and below, once your article is accepted, the university will pay the pay charge. So we don't have the edict of payment. Yours is just to go and do your research and get it published. So that got us on our toes. Even for my PhD, I got a university grant. Just package your proposal, go and defend. Once they approve it, so if I'm talking of university now, not outside. So for my PhD work, I got a university grant to do my PhD. So, and that, many people in my generation had similar thing. So that's why I said that even FUTA today is my generation, because we were put on our toes and we were given incentive. So that one, policies and all those things, we should see a way of addressing it. Then regular training and retraining of personnel. That one is very, very vital. We have several HPSC in Nigeria. In fact, I've gone around HPSC in the carton, HPSC outside the carton. Why is it not working? No column. Why is it not working? No standard. All over the place. Recently, I did a work for Telford. There's a lab, a multi-billion lab. I won't mention the university. For the past 3 months, no power. Come and see. I've never seen such lab in Nigeria. With this level of equipment, for the past 3 months, no power. Then the one that has power, the equipment is there, nobody can use it. In fact, in many universities now, we have central labs, equipment, they will just buy it. The day of accreditation, they will put it on, they will pass them, and you shut it down. I went for one in the north. I was very happy. This equipment is working. They did it. After I collected their number, I now called them. I said, they only set up accreditation after the thing. In reality, nothing is working. Let me round up with that. Next slide. Next slide, please. Let me conclude with this one. As more and more research we carry out in our respective laboratories, let's bear it in mind that it is incomplete until that information can be translated to a product that will make life better for everyone. That has been the cruise of our work in functional foods and nutraceuticals. Thank you. Next slide.
Please, let's sustain the applause. Prof, we have listened to Professor Obo. Professor Obo is our asset in FUTA, and we tend to promote him anywhere we have the opportunity. Please let's give him another round of applause. What he has said this morning is not only applicable to us in life sciences, it's applicable to almost every areas of research, particularly in academics. There was a time somebody developed the pounding machine in OAU, Ife. Nobody to commercialize the technology for that person. He took it abroad. They did it for him, and they are now selling it to us back in Nigeria. So what he has actually said is a reflection of what is actually happening in Nigeria. Before we go into the question and answer section, I want to quickly give a rundown of what Prof have just said. Some people did not come in on time, so I just want to give a brief lowdown of what Prof said. The title is Translating Functional Food Research to Sustainable Healthcare Delivery. He started by looking at the Brazilian experience, where he said they have a large number of PhD turnout, but that the number of PhD turnout does not translate to any industrial impact in that particular country, and that they have to look for a way of shifting their focus. He talked about the scientific research shift, and he also explained the limited research getting out to the commercial state. Professor Obo talked about a lot of publications in Nigeria with no patent or developing products emanating from such research. He then talked about his own research focus on functional food. He talked about the definition of functional food, the quality, then the classification, and the way he transformed let food be your medicine to medicine be your food to their own new mantra. He then went on to emphasize the definition of translational research, that is from bench to bed and to community. That is the stages that are involved. And he mentioned that most of the things that we do here are majorly the basic at the expense of the applied aspect of research. He mentioned the advantages of translational research. He mentioned them. He then dwelt on some of his own contribution. That is making his own research to be fed in the society. And some of those ones involve around developing biscuits with functional properties, diabetes, bread, noodles, shortbread, cookies, alcohol-free beer, and so on and so forth. Prof also mentioned some of the challenges facing research in Nigeria, particularly funding, policy, equipment, mentorship, and so on and so forth, particularly the human factor. He rounded up his discussion by looking at some of the recommendations in terms of funding, mentorship, exposure, and human capital development before he made the final conclusion. This is what Prof has told us about, and as I've said, what he has said is not only limited to the life sciences, is to all areas of research. And I want to share one other experience that I had as a person when I went for a conference in Germany. In that conference, it's not like the conference that we have here. When you have conferences, people from the industry, they will come. People from the government, they will come. So we have the opportunity in that conference that 2 ministers came. Minister for Innovation, they have a Minister for Innovation. They have a Ministry for Innovation. They also have the Ministry for Environment, because the conference has to do with environment. And something struck me when the Minister for Innovation spoke. He said it. He said, do you people know why they call us developed countries? He said, do you know the reason why they call us developed countries? He said there's no too special thing about us being called developed countries. He said, what we do is that we don't joke with our critical research facilities and our best brain. He said we lay a lot of emphasis on critical research facility and our best brain. That in his ministry, what they do is to go from conference to harvest whatever is coming up from the academia. They will now take it to their incubation center in the ministry. They look at it. They will now invite the author, the researcher, and see which one they can then scale up to the commercialization stage. So this is how it is done in the advanced climb. But as he has said it, we'll get there one day by the grace of God. On that note, I want to sincerely thank our speaker, Professor Obo, for the apt summary of what the title is all about. And at this stage, we want to entertain some questions. I will give you numbers. I will give you numbers. I can see people enjoy the lecture. That's why we are having a large number of people that are inquisitive to ask questions. That will be number one. Number one, with the cap. Number two. Number three. Number four, Prof. Number 5. Number 6. So let's take the first 6. 6. Ajia, number 7. Then last person, number 8. Then number 10. Let us leave it at 10. Please, let's leave it at 10 so that we can leave here. We have another speaker coming up. Thank you. Please, let's take the questions together so that we don't waste time. Let's take the questions together. Then he will just answer all.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning once again, everyone. Good morning, Prof. And thanks so much for all you do for humanity. Thanks so much for sharing with us how far you've gone or you've object to humanity. We're very grateful. My question, sir, is this array of challenges you've mentioned are available everywhere. They're almost touchable. But you were in the midst of all these, able to navigate to attain these feats. Sir, can you please share with us in 1 to 3 sentences how you're able to overcome all this array of challenges to attain these feats? Lack of power, bad policy, all these, how you're able to navigate them and then be able to attain this feat. That may help us moving forward. Thanks so much once again, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Prof, for the insightful lecture. I have 2 questions. I want to get your experience in terms of dealing with folkloric African endemic myths that are attached to discovery of therapeutics when it comes to the use of herbs, because there have been lots of myths attached to scientific discoveries, especially when some traditionalists get to say that you have to recite some incantations on some phytomedicine for them to be potent. And sometimes they might link such to the fact that you have to get plants at specific periods for them to be potent. How is our translational research able to deal with these African myths attached to therapeutic efficiencies? And secondly, sir, patenting is an outcome of folkloric experience. Now, as a factor militating against patenting or translational research, extinction of plants is one. And for patenting, as I could derive from your presentation, there are polyhedral inclusions in most of what you patented. So how is translational research able to deal with probing into bioactive components of plants and possibly isolate that and patent them for therapeutic purposes?
Thank you very much. I have to quickly appreciate the Professor Oyele-led NEC for bringing us Professor Gani Hubo. If there are a lot of things that I've enjoyed in this NISEB conference, I think this one will be added today. I appreciate you, sir. Secondly, sir, to you, Prof, sir, we appreciate you. The Prof here said you are an asset to FUTA. You are not only an asset to FUTA, you are an asset to NISEB. So we appreciate you. Prof, sir, President, sir, we want a situation where this lecture will not end here. If there are ways or there is a way, or if there are ways, you can help us bring Professor Gani Hubo to chapters or zonal chapters or individual chapters where we can have first-class interactions with him so that we can move further from where to where we want to be. That is. Then, thirdly, sir, Prof, sir, I think the last speaker extracted my mind, but I will delve or try to modify the question. You listed a lot of challenges. Perhaps you have been able to surmount those challenges, and that is why you are where you are. You did not mention the problem of extinction. of some of these plants, which the last speaker now. Now, another thing is, are we not still going back to where we were? Where did I say we were? When they get plants, they try to isolate for continuous uses of those plants, because at the point the plant might go into extinction. You mentioned at the point that there's a plant that you could not get again. That was why you made the lotion. Now, if you want to start tomorrow, how will you get that plant? Perhaps the plant has gone into extinction. Are we not going back to isolation of bioactive constituents, to making of compounds, and we are going back to orthodox medicine? How will you be able to move out of that challenge? Then lastly, sir, Prof, sir, President, I think you need to also help us to solve a challenge. The challenge is people could not get that fund again because of the fear of government sponsored, people run away in the principle of jackpottism or brain drain. Now, because people are done this bad, they will surcharge people like us who are coming, or people who are even coming before us. If the government, it should be in the coming exam, I'm suggesting, if the government could look for ways of trying to bring them back, stringent rules, so that they will not run away and it will not prevent opportunities for people like us and several people coming. Thank you very much, sir.
Number 4.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Karim Adam Olaitan from University of Ilorin, Department of Zoology specifically. Thank you so much. The NISEB, let me just put it like that. I mean the executive. I've gained a lot from since the webinar was done and even from today. If this is the only lecture I've attended to, then I'm happy that I've attended this conference. Thank you so much, sir, Prof. I finished my PhD in CSIR's Central Research Drug Institute in India. And this is exactly how people think, exactly what you said. So when I came back, I felt different, because I want you to believe, sir, that many of the young people also have this thinking. But the problem is, how will I actualize this dream? Just a few weeks ago, I interacted with a colleague in the Department of Plant Biology, University of Ilorin, we're discussing with him regarding things like this. How do we think of doing research? You are into phytomedicine. How can we think of plants, working on it up to a level of taking it up to commercial value, just like you have said? Now, sir, I am happy that you have spoken on this, and I think one of my problems is aptly solved. Sir, you have mentioned two important things why translational research is very difficult. One is, let me put it as research grants. Even though you said funding, I understand, but I want to put it as grant. Secondly is inadequate mentorship. As a young academic, even if fund is available, there's a limitation to which you can go, because you cannot be a PI. I'm just a lecturer one, though hoping to become a soon. Secondly, sir, mentorship is very, very essential. Sir, how can I get a mentorship from you? I shall be very happy if there's a way I can link up with you, sir. And I hope you will do this favor for me. Thank you so much, sir. Secondly, please, your slide of today, I shall appreciate if it can be shared. And I also want to encourage the NISEB at different local chapters to please create a forum of such, where we members can brainstorm among ourselves, think of how to solve some problems and how to enhance our research activity. Thank you so much, sir. I'm very grateful.
Number 5.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank the presenter. He's my brother. I've been here to examine some of his students, so I'm aware of all the work done. Each time I come, I see a new interest, and I'm also happy listening to his presentation today. I don't want to say too much, only that in terms of all the work done, funding is a major issue. That's why even some of us shy away from going that far. So I think it's high time government make a policy Because in countries, Spain, India, they have a government policy on this kind of translational research. I was opportune to be in a lab in Spain, and I know they do get samples straight from the hospital. I work in the, then in a microbiology lab, and they use pure compound to test for antimicrobial activity. I came with my sample, plant fractions, and we were able to find activity. And then we were able to, do a combination therapy, which we are writing on the paper now. So I want to thank Prof again for the presentation.
Thank you. Because of the large number of questions that people are signifying interest, we want to limit to the first 5. Let's take them 5-5. So let's ask the first 5. Your response to the first 5 questions.
Thank you for the questions. That shows I've achieved my goal. Yeah, actually, I always start from the rear. The issue of funding is a serious one. It's a serious one. As of today in Nigeria, the only body that fund is third fund. And the third fund is not even readily available. But what I will say is, and now we're going to address some of the first question that was asked. Before I got my PhD, though I've been traveling, and I know even abroad, you can have about 10 labs on a corridor. 2 will be working, or 8 may not work. What determines the one that is working is the fund they have. If you don't have grant, you cannot bring in students. You just come in, you take your coffee, you go back home. But there are some labs that they have fund. So even before I got my PhD, I've been pushing for grants. There are some grants you get as a younger academic. That's the truth. That those grants are not meant for top ranking. I know there was one I applied for years back. Though I won it, I want to get another one. They now said, Professor, they didn't even know. Then I was even with a doctor that we have gone through your profile that you are an established scientist. Stop applying. Rather, ask your student to apply. My student applied, it was given. And several of my students. So there are some grants. That's where the area of mentorship really comes in. And sincerely, as an oncoming student then, I used to admire my colleagues in School of Agriculture, faculty. You see them, they get on grant early enough. That is where probably, I would say they have stronger mentorship. Let me use that language. Because you see many of my colleagues who were on PhD together, some of them were having 2-3 grants to support their PhD work. Not just local grant, international grants. So they got on grantmanship early enough, and they grew with it. So the only way around funding is keep on trying, keep on applying, and with each application you will improve. That is the only way. It's not just Nigeria alone, though Nigeria has some extra, because this sincerely, though the 50 million is not even money now, I've never supported you giving somebody 50 million. No. Probably one person in the whole university, or none in the university. Yeah, so I would rather suggest that we can make it smaller and it goes to several. I think that has been, though there was time we had meeting with telephone, we expressed this thing, that somebody will just go from 2 million IBR to 50 million. That the gap is too much. We should have to have 10 million grant, 20 million grant. With time, you grow with grantmanship. So fund is very important. Then, the issue of dream. Actually, truly, I said something earlier when I was talking that many of us have something in us. Many. But the surrounding, everything will not make them able to achieve it. I was about quoting Martin Luther, but I won't quote him. That there's issue of stupidity. You have something, you know this thing can work, and yet you are not doing anything about it. It's a serious issue. Then the issue of extinction, obviously, is a serious issue. And that's why you have to promote the cultivation. Like that plant I use, when I became director of research, I make sure in the garden we grew them. I knew then we have a lot in the garden. So we have to promote all those people in economic botany. You have to promote some of those plants that you know they have value and they are going to extinction. Patent. That one, though there are more to that, that's a whole lecture on its own. So you can see me, we'll talk later on that. That one is a lecture on its own. And the issue of folklore. Yes, there are folklores, there are some traditional belief. It's not every plant it affects. If we keep on saying that somebody must pegede, we will not do anything. No. Though I don't know how to pegede anyway. But if you don't know the meaning of my name, I know when someone will know the meaning of my name. Eh? Any Edo man there. What's the meaning of Obu? It's an herbalist. So that's the meaning of my name, herbalist. But at a lighter mode. Yes, the incantation may play its role, but the truth is that some of those plants has their bioactive compound, and you can never contest it. And they are working. They are working. Yes, there was a time me and my students were brainstorming on this issue that there are some plants to cut in the evening. All those things have to do with their photosynthetic cycle. And they affect the bioactive compound. So there is no special thing about it. So that is that. And how I overcame is the grace of God. If I don't have time. If you come, we will talk more. Thank you.
Please, our time is fast spent. We have 10 questions. Well, I'm very sorry. We're only going to allow the president to make his comment. Any other person that has some questions to ask, please try and see Professor Obo in camera. We are very sorry about that. We still have another lecture. Thank you. Prof. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
I want to join others to appreciate our distinguished Professor Ganiyu Obo. If you are conversant, somebody you'll have known well ahead of time before you meet him, because he has the highest citation index in FUTA. So apart from all you've had. So well done for all the work. We appreciate this lecture, and that is the way to go. So I want to, being a dean of a postgraduate school, and also belonging to the committee of provosts and deans for postgraduate school, I want to say that we have improved. Other than somebody just meeting the supervisor and then you say the time is right for you to graduate. At the University of Ilorin, for instance, last year, we started that you must have 2 publications before you can graduate from PhD. So, and at the committee of deans and provosts and deans and provosts, we also have that you can use patents, you can have patents or publication. I think many universities are now adopting that. Yes, I have gone to examine in even private universities. I don't want to name, but where there must be evidence of publication. I think that's a kind of regulation. And I know I have a student, I was talking to somebody that finished from Taiwan. And the condition was that you must publish from a very high impact journal. And until you do that, you are not going anywhere. I think we are doing that. And in addition, I have at least one of my PhD students here. In my lab, you cannot graduate, you cannot finish PhD without publication. One defended on Friday, last Friday, and as I was I think you are on neuroscience platform. As I was appreciating people who are thanking me for, congratulating me, I also put the link of the publications. 2 publications have emanated from these theses. They are not Nigerian publications. They are standard publications from the thesis. So I think we are moving forward one way or the other, but there might still be places where it's just done like that. We want to, there's no other person that we can talk to about TED Fund than the likes of Professor Ganiyu Obo. And people have a lot of misgivings about TED Fund and the operation and the winning of the grant. Somebody called me sometimes ago to say, in health, in clinical or health line, that hardly do you get people who use rat or rodent that have won an NRF grant. I don't know whether that is true, but I was lucky to win using having the proposal on rats. But maybe after me, nobody have been winning. But that research was also translational. We were going to work from rat and then try to, whatever we have developed, try to also see how it can be applied to patients in the clinic. So, well, there is no time to ask questions again, because I know one landscape that is difficult to navigate is moving your research from basic level to the clinical setting. There is that lack of handshake, and it's difficult. I remember we wanted to do one work, and despite the fact that we had a medical doctor that was going to do it, they refused to give ethical clearance for the fellow to do it. Despite the fact that my own student is a medical doctor, and then there are certain requirements that will be put into it, and if you are not very careful, you are just going to just forget about that. We had to forget that work. We didn't do that work in human beings. We have to go and do that work in rat eventually. I've had success with some clinical works, but that particular one, we had to change that design and go and do it in rodents. So please, for TED Fund, I really appreciate, and I think I'm in support of this money going around. Although I know that our people are not, we need more reorientation. I'm sorry I'm taking a little bit of time. But when I won my NRF grant and I went to an Hebrew school, and a Nigerian who was even studying from outside, he said, "Which car are you going to buy?" And I said, "Car." He didn't give me money to go and buy a car. Some people will go and marry. They will have, you see, they just, and then we need to change. When you say go, because there was a challenge to NISEB, say, tell TED Fund that they will not, how do you want to restrict people from traveling outside and staying there? You want to go and use Interpol to arrest them? Do you know that people have collected money to go to conferences and they find a way of conniving and getting the boarding passes, and they have not traveled at all? I'm telling you, I know a case. We are so terrible like that we need reorientation, honesty. Just like as he was saying, somebody give you 100,000 naira, you are asking for 20%. And because of that, I'm in talk with the other association, which is neuroscience. We are in talk with another funding organization. They said they have found it hard to give money to Nigerians. Because when they give this money to the universities, the university will hold the money, and the funding organization will keep asking the awardee and say, "Where is your product? What have you done?" And they will say, "We have not collected the money." And then they found it hard to give money to Nigerians. And those who are on the council now say, "What can we do?" In the other organization I belong, we have a DOM account, and we try to interface, if it is possible, whereby we will collect the money on behalf of the awardee, and then we pay them the same currency that the money come in, and then they get the money. So there are a few things we can do, but as much as possible, I'm happy that Professor Ganeju is rubbing shoulder with them. So you continue to talk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We want to close this chapter, but before we close it, we want to present the award to Professor Obo. Professor Morige, you will help us present the award to Professor Obo. Prof. Thank you.
Sorry. On behalf of the Society for Experimental Biology of Nigeria, present this award to Professor Ganiyu Obu.
Thank you. Thank you. We have come to the end of this plenary session, but we want to take the next lecture. Is the J.T. Ekanem Memorial Lecture to be delivered by Professor A. Taiga. Professor Taiga. Sir, before you proceed, we need to listen to your citation. To do that, will be Madam. PRO or Secretary.
Dr. Kayode. Thank you, Professor Tiger. So, okay, so I have this honor again this morning to read the citation of Professor A. Tiger, NISEB Fellow of the Society for Experimental Biology, AFAAN. He joined academics in 1991 as an assistant lecturer at Federal University of Technology, Yola, now Modibo University, Yola, and later moved to Kogi State University, Anyigba, as pioneer staff in 1999 and to year 2000. There he rose through the rank and file to become a professor in 2014. Professor A. Tiger, while at Kogi State University, went on sabbatical in 2011 to 2012 at Delta State University, Abraka, and Taraba State University, Jalingo in 2018 to 2020. He is currently a tenure staff at Delta State University of Science and Technology, Ozoro, Delta State. He has served as chair and member in several university committees at Kogi State University, Taraba State, also Taraba State University, and currently in Delta State University of Science and Technology, Ozoro. Professor Tiger is the current Dean, Faculty of Science, Delta State University, Ozoro, apart from having served as acting Dean at Kogi State University, Anyigba, and also Dean at Taraba State University, Jalingo. He has also served as head of department for 4 years. He had 2 separate terms at Kogi State University, Anyigba, and also a former member of council and as a member of council, honorary degree award committee at Kogi State University, also in Anyigba. He was the initiator and pioneer director of Science Remedial Program at Kogi State University. He also initiated and served as pioneer treasurer, Kogi State University Multipurpose Cooperative Society. This was between 2003 and 2007. Professor Tiger initiated the training of cashew farmers in Kogi State in collaboration with the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, CRIN, in Ibadan, and served as the chairman, Premier Cashew Week, hosted by the Kogi State University. This was in 2008. In addition, he served as faculty coordinator and member. He had served in this capacity, member academic board, Center for Pre-Degree and Diploma Studies. This was between 2009 to 2011. He has also occupied several positions at Kogi State University. Professor Tiger has over 64 scientific publications to his credit, this in reputable journals, local and international, including proceedings from local and international conferences, presented in several local and international conferences in Nigeria, Africa, Europe, United Arab Emirates, and United States of America. He has published 3 books and presented technical reports at various fora. He is, of course, a member of several learned societies, including the Society for Experimental Biology of Nigeria, where he is currently a member of BOT. He's been an ex-official as the immediate past president of the society, and also an academic fellow of the society. He has been on the editorial, he has served in the editorial committees as chief editor, Faculty of Science Journal in Delta State University of Science and Technology, Zoro. He has also been a member of Board of Reviewers for Journal of Applied Bioscience, member of Board of Reviewers for International Journal of Medicine and Medical Sciences, amongst others. Professor Tiger is married with 3 children. Join me this morning to welcome the speaker, Professor A. Tiger, for his presentation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I will stand on existing protocol. There have been so much discussion on one topic I want to clarify to all the attendees of this conference. Various conferences we have, people will be talking, who is Dr. Ekanem? Dr. Ekanem. Some have different idea about this memorial lecture we give every year. Apart from those from Ilori that may have the detail about Dr. Ekanem, many NISEB members don't know who Dr. Ekanem is for so many years now. And so I want to use today to remind us, the younger members of NISEB, before I go to the main topic of the day, that who is Dr. Ekanem? It's relevant because it has some significance holding this conference here in Akure, in FUTA. Late Dr. Justice Timothy Ekanem, with NISEB member 012, joined the Nigeria Society for Experimental Biology on 12 December 1994, when the society was still operating as Bioscience Study Group, BSG, at the University of Ilori, where he lectured. The Bioscience Study Group metamorphosed to NISEB on June 6, 2000, and Dr. Ekanem became the pioneer general secretary, with Professor Clement Bewaji, one of the founding members, as the pioneer president. All I'm talking about Dr. Ekanem today were information provided to me by Professor Bewaji. So, according to Professor Bewaji, Dr. Ekanem worked closely with him as the president and did marvelously well. He was very energetic and maintained accurate records of NISEB meetings. At the NISEB conference held in February 2002 at Secular Hotel Ilori, Dr. Ekanem was elected the president of NISEB, making him the second president of NISEB after Professor Bewaji and the only NISEB president, as I can remember so far, who was not a professor until date. This attests to his personality in NISEB family. He contested for the position of president with Professor T.L. Olawoye of FUTA here, and won the election by a wide margin due to his popularity, youthful energy, and advantage of home support. Displaying his commitment to NISEB, Professor Olawoye accepted to serve as vice president after losing to Dr. Ekane. Dr. Ekane moved into office with clear vision and remarkable energy. He vigorously embarked on membership drive with lots of fruits to show for it. Many older NISEB members here can testify to it that they became members because of the promotional effort of Dr. Ekane. And I am one of his membership drive products in 2003. He resumed office in 2002 with NISEB, when NISEB had about 238 members. And he handed over to his successor a membership strength of over 800 members. NISEB quarterly newsletter bulletin was regular throughout his tenure. In addition, his effort made NISEB assume the current national and international outlook. He succeeded Professor Biwaye as president and also took over from him as editor-in-chief of biochemistry, one of the journals published by NISEB, and made another remarkable contribution to the society by moving the journal to greater heights during his period of his editorship, by making the journal got coverage in Africa Journal Online, AJOL, as well as Bioline International. Dr. Ekane served NISEB selflessly and meritoriously, and that is why NISEB instituted his memorial lecture at her annual conferences. This is the man called Dr. Ekane, for the information of the whole house. Now we go to the major lecture of the day. Yes. The topic of today's lecture is the role of research in national development. All the papers presented so far today during this conference have been hammering on this aspect. But just to remind all of us once more, and for the fact of what NISEB stands for, I decided to take this to remind. I did not know that most of the topic would be based on this aspect, but it reminds us more how research can help in national development. Introduction. Nigeria is, yes. Okay. Nigeria is in their need of development. The panacea of the development is scientific research that are applicable in national development. And that is exactly what the last lead paper speaker have just talked about, translating what you do in the lab to bench, and what you do in the bench to the life experiences. Scientific research play a pivotal role in national development by driving innovation, enhancing economic growth, improving public health, and fostering environmental sustainability. The systematic pursuit of knowledge and technological advancement through research contribute to a nation's ability to address complex challenges improve quality of life, and maintain a competitive edge in the global economy. Scope of discussion. In an attempt to just discuss this topic, I will discuss them, I will discuss the topic under the following headlines: innovation and economic growth, public health improvements, environmental sustainability, education and human capital development, policy and governance, global competitiveness, and then I will end it with conclusion. Let's take innovation and economic growth. At the heart of national development is economic growth, which significantly influenced by innovation. Scientific research fuels innovation by generating new knowledge, which leads to development of new technologies, products, and services. These innovations can open up new markets and industries, creating jobs and boosting the economy. For example, advancement in information technology and telecommunications have revolutionized the way businesses operate, leading to increased productivity and efficiency across various sectors. A case study in Nigeria is post-mobile telecommunication revolution. We all can testify to this, that before the advent of telecommunication, we know what do happen in Nigeria. Today, online business alone is even more profitable than shops. Most people don't even have shops to do businesses now. It is online. That is the effect of telecommunication. Also, research and development, that is R&D activities, attract investment, both domestic and foreign, further stimulating economic growth. Then public health improvements. Scientific research is crucial in improving public health, a key component of national development. Through medical and health research, scientists develop new treatments, vaccines, and diagnostic tools that can prevent and cure diseases, thereby increasing the population's overall health and life expectancy. We can take an instance from the recent rapid development of COVID-19 vaccine, which have been mentioned by various presenters. Through extensive research efforts, exemplify how scientific research can address urgent public health crises. Additionally, research in public health help in understanding health trends and risk factors, enabling governments to implement effective health policies and programs. Environmental sustainability. Addressing environmental sustainability challenges is essential for sustainable national development, and scientific research plays a pivotal role in this endeavor. Research in environmental science helps in understanding the impact of human activities on ecosystems and developing strategies to mitigate these effects. Innovations in renewable energy, such as solar and wind power, stem from scientific research and are crucial for reducing dependence on fossil fuel and combating climate change. Additionally, research in agricultural sciences has led to the development of sustainable farming practices that increase food security while minimizing environmental damage. Education and human capital development. Scientific research also contributes to national development by enhancing education and human capital. Research institutions and universities are centers of learning and innovation, where new knowledge is generated and disseminated. Through education, individuals gain the skills and expertise needed to participate in and contribute to a knowledge-based economy. Furthermore, involving students in research projects prepares them for career in science and technology, fostering a skilled workforce that can drive future development. Policy and governance. Informed policy making is another area where scientific research has a significant impact. And this one is the major problem we are facing in Africa generally, particularly Nigeria. Evidence-based research provides policymakers with the information needed to make decisions that promote national development. For instance, economic research can guide fiscal policies that stimulate growth, while social science research can inform policy aimed at reducing inequalities and improving social welfare. Research also plays a critical role in national security, helping to develop technologies and strategies to protect against various threats. Global competitiveness. A strong foundation in scientific research is essential for maintaining global competitiveness. Nations that invest in research and development are better positioned to lead in emerging fields such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and nanotechnology. This leadership not only boosts a nation's economy prospects, but also enhances its geopolitical influence. We can take example from what happened in some of the Western countries, like advanced space programs that are developed by countries like United States of America and China. It gives them benefit from both the technological advancements and the strategic advantages that comes with space exploration. In conclusion, I want to just summarize how the topic of today can really help one if we put them into practice by saying that scientific research is a cornerstone of national development. It drives innovation and economic growth, improves public health, promotes environmental sustainability, enhances education and human capital, informs policy and governance, and ensures global competitiveness. By investing in scientific research, nations can build a prosperous and sustainable future for their citizens. And this is exactly what NISEB stands for. Therefore, I want to thank all of you for listening to me in this short discussion. Thank you very much.
Let's give me another round of applause. Come and sit here. We have all listened with rapt attention to Professor Taiga lecture which is titled J.T. Ekanem Memorial Lecture. Prof started by giving us the profile of the man, Dr. J.T. Ekanem, with NISEB number 012, and is the second vice president. And another very unique thing about the man, J.T. Ekanem, is that he's the only president of the society who is not a professor, and who also have a professor as his assistant. He's a man of no mean repute. He's a man of timber and caliber. And that is why an academic like that names is always in good. And we keep on remembering them from time to time. Prof lecture dwell on the role of research in national development. We have it in 5 major outlines. And the first aspect is on innovation and economic growth. And it linked that innovation help to open new frontiers in markets and industry. And on public health improvement, it dwell majorly on medical and health research in public health improvement. It specifically talk about both prophylactic and therapeutic aspects and the effectiveness of health policies by government. Prof third point was on environmental sustainability, and he explained the role of science in environmental sustainability, particularly the climate change and the importance of renewable energy. The penultimate point he worked on is on education and human capital development, defining university and research centers as centers for learning and innovation, particularly for disseminations of ideas in a knowledge-based economy. Prof spoke about the policy and governance, particularly for the social sciences. And he said research provides policymakers with information needed for taking informed decisions, particularly for national security. And the last outline was on global competitiveness, where Prof linked research to development, particularly the current trend in artificial intelligence and robotics and space science. And he said countries that are endowed with this kind of quality has the possibility of determining the geographical and political influence in the global space. And the conclusion was that research, linking research, is the cornerstone of any national development. This was Prof. submission. Once again, let's give Prof. Tiger another round of applause. Then the floor is now open for questions, comments, and reaction based on his submission. Questions for Professor Tiger. Questions? Questions? Okay. 1. Let's take it 1 parole. 2. Last person. Okay. Let's have the first. So we have 2. The first person. I want to ask you a question. Please come and stay here. Please, your name and where you're from.
Thank you very much. My name is Professor Adeyemi Olalekun. I'm from the Federal Investor of Petroleum Resources, EFUN, Delta State. Firstly, I want to appreciate the Professor Tiger for that insightful lecture. And the talk on Professor J.T. Ekanem. Thank you very much for your contribution. What I have is more of a comment than questions. There are two things I see in academics that is also working against our research. Number one I see is factions among academics. Factions. Even within the department, you are in nutrition, you are in toxicology, you now see factions. How will that encourage collaboration? Most of the time, it even pull him down. You now be going behind him to meet the vice chancellor and say all manner of things. It's also affecting academics. Then secondly, one thing I also see that is also bringing the issue of underfunding in academics is our inability to go out. I remember when I got to Delta State for the first time, a guy met me in the office where I was sitting. He asked me, how much was your salary? I said, 100 and something. The guy laughed. This guy did not go to school. He laughed and said, in Warri here, if you give me 200,000 naira, I will not work. So that opened my imagination further. If we rely on our salary as academics, we will not go further. So we started as a team. We're going out to meet the oil and gas sectors. What problem do you have? The first time we were going out, they were looking at what is wrong with these young academics. But we persisted. We want to know your problem so that we can help you to solve them. So that brings us to consultancy. It's another way that academics should explore. There is a lot of money there, and it's underexplored. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof, for that wonderful lecture. Also bringing to memorial of our darling former leader, Dr. J.T. Ekanem. I also have a comment actually, and it's actually on Dr. Ekanem himself. As you were speaking, just made me to remember that he was actually the one that introduced us to NISEB at early ages when at our postgraduate level. I can remember Professor Fauziat, Professor Yusuf Kudra, the current editor of biochemistry. So he took us then in 2004, that was 20 years ago, and he took us to Okada. We didn't really understand the import of what he was introducing us to. We assisted him, then he was the editor of biochemistry journal. We assisted him in the production of some of those journals then. And he told us the importance. We did not only just attended, we participated fully, engaged fully, and he was looking at the future, encouraging us, telling us the importance of the society, of belonging to a scientific society like this. I think Dr. J.T. Ekanem was a great mentor that actually helped to introduce the younger academics, and he was a fantastic researcher. I remember one of the things he told us when he traveled, he was specialized on trypanosomiasis or something then. Traveled and he told us what actually happened there and encouraged us the reason why we should be serious. He told us one that he traveled for his postdoc and he got there. He made a request for reagent over the weekend. So he said he was expecting that they are going to get back to him on Monday so that he will start off his work. He said he should just stroll down on Sunday and get into the corridor in front of the office they gave to him. He said all the reagent that he has ordered for was actually waiting for him in front of the door. And he said in that particular place, the implication of that is that as people are passing your corridor, they will know that you have not entered that office. And it means that you are not a serious researcher. So he told us that he was forced to start research on Sunday, just packed the thing inside, and then went straight to the lab. The more we celebrate him, it brings to our memory the wonderful job he has done. Professor Tiger, thank you very much for the lecture and bringing to remember of Dr. J.T. Ekanem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We now want to do the presentation to Professor A. Tiger. To do that will be the Director of Quality Assurance, Federal University of Technology, Professor S.O. Salah, will come and do the presentation of the award to Professor Tiger. Professor Salah.
On behalf of the Society for Experimental Biology of Nigeria, we appreciate Professor A. Tiger from Delta State University of Science and Technology, Ozoro, as a resource person during the 23rd Annual Scientific Conference and General Meeting held at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria, between 12 to 15 August 2024. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
One more time, please help me appreciate Professor M.K. Oladumoye and Dr. JJ for a good job. And one more time, help me appreciate Professor Tiger and Professor Obo. Thank you so much. I think it's time for tea break. Or do we take another session of lectures? Okay, so I think it's time for tea break. The good thing is that the tea is ready. So please, let's go for tea break. Let's remember to hold our meal tickets. And of course, in 30 minutes' time, the technical sessions will begin. Thank you.